What's happening, NFL fans? This is Jason Cercone, and welcome back to your Week 4 edition of NFL UnCut. I'm primed, and I'm going to get you ready for what is going to transpire in the National Football League. As always, we're going to take a look at some game predictions, we're going to look at some fantasy players, and we're going to have a lot of fun as always, so strap in. It's going to be another great ride. Now, before we move into Week 4, let's just take a quick look back at Week 3, some of the happenings, some of the occurrences. I just want to send a special congratulations to the Detroit Lions. You made my ballsy pick of the year come true. I said it here first. I said the Lions would get themselves in the win column. They did just that with a win over Washington. More importantly for the Lions, this is a great way for them to exercise those demons, to get that first win, which was crucial for the coaching staff. Now they can move forward with the monkey removed from their back. So Detroit Lions, congratulations on getting your first win. And also, let's take a look at the defending Super Bowl champion Pittsburgh Steelers, falling to 1-2 on the season so far. Last second loss to the Cincinnati Bengals, who are better than advertised, as I've said many times on this show. But the Steelers falling to 1-2, not exactly a great start for the defending champs. Limas Swede, you're an NFL receiver. You've got to make those catches in the end zone. You know, if this was the first time you dropped a big pass, maybe I wouldn't be so hard on you, but you've got to make those catches. If Swede makes that touchdown catch, you don't even have to worry about the Bengals driving down the field, and the points they would have put on the board would not have been enough to begin with. So you got to point the finger of blame at Limas Swede. Easy catch for him to make, bounces right off his chest. So going forward, Limas, if you can get yourself back into the game, got to start making those catches. Now let's dive in head first. Let's take a look at Week 4 action. There's another great lineup of games. We're going to take a look at 3. So far on the predictions this year, I'm 6-3. It's a modest record, but we're going to look to make an improvement to that as we go forward. So, first game I want to take a look at, Dallas Cowboys going into Denver to take on the Broncos. Cowboys coming off a big win on Monday night in their home stadium. They got that first win under their belt in Jerry World. Now they're on the road playing the Broncos. Denver's 3-0, but you kind of got to wonder if that 3-0 record has been the direct result of smoke and mirrors. They beat the Browns, they beat the Bengals just barely, and they beat up on the Raiders last week. Now they're going to come and face a team. They got the Cowboys coming into town as a team that has led the league in rushing up to this point. They got a couple banged-up running backs, but I don't think that's going to deter their efforts. I think the Cowboys are going to keep on running the ball hard with Tashard Choice, and look for Romo to open up the passing downfield a little bit more than what he has in the past couple weeks. Maybe get back to what they did in Week 1 where he got over 350 yards passing. And I think Denver's going to suffer their first loss this year. We're going to go with the Dallas Cowboys to beat the Broncos at home 23-16. So lock that one in. That's the first pick of the week. Next game, we're going to take a look at the Sunday night matchup between the Steelers and the Chargers. Chargers coming on the road. They say the whole, traveling West Coast to East Coast messes with the team's psyche. I don't buy it. You're a pro team. And if you're the Chargers, you're a team that's a contender, and they're coming in to play the defending champs. They're going to be geared up. The Steelers are going to be doing everything in their power to not fall to 1-3. Not too many teams have made the playoffs after falling to 1-3. The Steelers do not want to fall into that statistic. So look for the Steelers to play some good football. They're going to try to get into Phillip Rivers' face early and shut down the run. Don't know who's going to be running the ball. It's going to be Sproles, LT, or a combo of both. But look for the Steelers to really put the clamps down. I look for the Steelers to walk away in a close one with a victory, 34-31, to move to 2-2 on the year. So that's your second pick. Let's take a look at the final pick of the week. We're going Monday night. Brett Favre and the Vikings taking on Favre's old team of the Green Bay Packers for the first time since Favre's been out of a Packer uniform. It's going to be a lot of emotion. Favre's going to be riding high up that miraculous win from last week. That he threw that ball with 2 seconds. Absolutely beautiful pass, beautiful catch. Vikings got the win. But this week playing Green Bay, I'm looking for Aaron Rodgers, kind of the student versus the mentor type of thing going on with Aaron Rodgers having backed up Favre for many years. I think this is going to be Rodgers' opportunity to shine. I like him and the rest of that Packers team. On Monday night, I think they're going to go into Minnesota, and they're going to win that game. We're going to see the Packers walk away with a 31-21 victory over the Minnesota Vikings. So those are your game predictions for the week. Let's shift gears and look at the fantasy beast for Week 4. At quarterback, Matt Shaw, coming off 2 straight 300-yard games. Now he's going up against the Oakland Raiders. That is a great scenario for him to put up his 3rd straight 300-yard game. I'm looking for Shaw to do that. He's going to open up that passing game downfield and find the likes of Andre Johnson, Jacoby Jones has been stepping up. Kevin Walter's been stepping up. Owen Daniels has been stepping up. There's a lot of great weapons for Schaub to throw to. You mix in Steve Slayton, starting to get on track. A little bit of a slow start. Kind of emerged last week, had an okay game. He's ready to break through. I look for Schaub to really put up some big numbers this week. So Matt Schaub is going to be your beast of the week at quarterback against Oakland for week 4. At running back, we're going to go there first, and we're going to say Chris Johnson of Tennessee taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm looking for a classic running back battle between him and Maurice Jones-Drew this week, but Kerry Collins is coming off a subpar performance against the Jets. I think he's going to be looking to get some confidence back, so he's going to be doing a lot of dump-off passes, a lot of screen passes. That's going to benefit Chris Johnson, who, despite Tennessee's 0-3 record, has put up some solid numbers. I think you're going to see more of that from Johnson this week as he continues to be a consistent contributor to that team's offense. So Chris Johnson is going to be your beast of the week for week 4 at running back. At wide receiver, we're going to go with Steve Smith. And not the Steve Smith that you're accustomed to hearing. We're saying Steve Smith of the New York Giants. This guy is starting to emerge not only as the #1 guy for the Giants, but one of the top receivers in the NFC. Eli Manning has been looking for him and Mario Manningham, and I think Smith has been getting more targets than Manningham. Going up against the Kansas City Chiefs, that really bodes well. Both these receivers going up against a weak secondary. I think this is going to be a week that Steve Smith emerges. Probably gets over 100 yards, at least gets in the end zone once. These guys are doing a great job of making Eli Manning look good, and I'm looking for more of that this week, and I'm looking for Steve Smith to be the beast of the week at wide receiver. So if you got him, put him in. Now let's flip the coin and look at the chooches for week 4. Don't know how well these guys are going to do against their matchups, and we'll start with Derek Anderson of the Cleveland Browns. Now, you remember the last time they brought in Derek Anderson off the bench and played the Bengals? They had a shootout. Derek Anderson took over for Charlie Fry. Him and Carson Palmer went back and forth. But this is a better defense this year, so I think Derek Anderson's going to struggle. You saw that as he got back into that game against Baltimore last week, threw 3 picks. I'm looking for more of that this week. I'm looking for Derek Anderson to be the chooch of the week at quarterback, so try to avoid him if you've got him. And at running back, we're going to go with Kevin Smith or Maurice Morris going up against the Bears defense. Not too certain which one is going to be getting the majority of the carries in that game, but nevertheless, I look for the Bears defense to come out strong and put the clamps down on those 2 running backs, so it's going to be tough for them to get a lot of big yards. So Maurice Morris, Kevin Smith, combination of 2, chooch of the week, keep them on the bench. And at wide receiver, we're going to say Devery Henderson going up against the New York Jets. Drew Brees looked human last week against the Bills, and now they're going up against the Jets defense, which is one of the top defenses in the league. I think they're going to do a great job of keeping Drew Brees under wraps. You know, he'll probably still throw a touchdown here and there and probably put up some yardage, but at the same time, the numbers that you need from a wide receiver aren't going to come from Devery Henderson this week. So I look for him to be the chooch of the week for week 4 at wide receiver. Might be a good move to keep him on the bench since he's playing such a great secondary in the New York Jets. And finally, to wrap things up, let's take a quick look at some sleepers for week 3. These are guys that if you got them, you want to get them in your lineup. We're going to start with Jason Campbell going up against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Despite the Redskins not looking too good, they have been putting up some good numbers through the passing game, and that's been all Jason Campbell. He's a top 5 quarterback last week despite the loss to the despite the loss to the Lions. So this week, Jason Campbell playing the Buccaneers. If you're struggling to figure out which quarterback to put in, Jason Campbell might be the way to go. And let's take a look at Mike Sims-Walker for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Last week, a good sleeper pick was Jericho Cotchery against the Tennessee Titans. He put up over 100 yards. This week, Sims-Walker going up against the Titans could probably do the same. Sims-Walker is emerging as a top receiver for that team. I'm going to look for David Garrard to get him a lot of passes. Sims-Walker is going to be a good play against that weak Titans secondary this week. So you got Sims-Walker, put him in. And finally, running back, Mr. Coffee. Going up against the St. Louis Rams, Glenn Coffey taking over for an injured Frank Gore. It's an excellent draw for his first start of the year. I'm looking for Glenn Coffey to put up a big game and run wild all over that St. Louis defense. So Glenn Coffey, if you picked him up on waivers this week, get him in your lineup. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, this is going to wrap up NFL UnCut, your Week 4 edition. I am Jason Cercone, and I'm making predictions for the NFL fan because that's who I am and that's who I care about. Enjoy all the action this week. Look forward to seeing you next week. Take care.